Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to be going through my December daily title page. So this idea just kind of came to me in my head. I was inspired by another layout I saw. If I can remember the name of the person, I will link them below, but she used a wreath of some kind, or maybe not a wreath. She put like a photo of her and her partner in the middle of this wreath and made it look like an ornament, something like that. But the idea of this kind of three-dimensional folding thing that I end up creating here was just a random idea that came to me. But basically I used my 2.5 inch circle punch, and punched out a couple of different pattern papers, and then I also did this piece of star vellum. And don't use a circle punch like that for vellum. It did not work very well. I had to like hand cut it and it got stuck in my thing, but I don't have a die cutter and I'm not good at cutting perfect circles, so it was just what I had. But I end up folding them all in half and creating kind of like a three-dimensional, I don't know what those things are called, but they used to make these decorations where it was like tissue paper and it was like it would come flat and you would open it up and like glue it behind itself and it would be like three-dimensional. I don't know, that was kind of a bad explanation, but if you know what I mean, you know what I mean. But I just had this idea of a three-dimensional, like circular ornament type thing that would be kind of a pop out. And so I wanted to put that in the middle of this wreath. And I end up stapling them all together, adhering the first one down to the page and then stapling the other ones together so that they would be all attached and the flaps would just stick out. And then I don't know how, I think I used red line tape to get this one down, but this is me showing you. That was me showing you the vellum that was all messed up. But yeah, so I'm using some red line tape, and that is how I secure down the base paper, the first paper. And I know this is going to look bad on the other side. This is double-sided paper, so I could just keep it, but I think I'm going to do a circular photo on the back for the next side of the page just to cover up the yucky looking stuff. And that way it'll be consistent. It won't mess up the front, it won't mess up the back. But yeah, and then I'm going to use a piece of red line tape to adhere the rest of the circles to this. I think this ends up turning out really cute. The only thing is, because it's in an album, it can get like smashed pretty easily. I'm not super worried about it being perfect. It doesn't sit perfectly, but the idea was fun and I had a good time trying to make it come from my head out into the world. I also tried picking a couple of different colors, so I incorporated some blue and red and green just to have some variety in this first page to kind of set the tone for colors in the rest of the album. And then I'm going to try and figure out what ribbon or whatever I'm going to use to hang it from. So I have this baker's twine, but it's just too thin and flimsy. And then I have some red stripe ribbon, which I feel like is just like too thick and bold. And then I look at this gold ribbon, which is actually very pretty. I think I end up using washi tape though, which is kind of funny because I don't use ribbon at all. But I do end up tying a ribbon with that gold, or tying a bow with the gold ribbon and adhering that. But yeah, so I'm just messing around trying to figure out what I'm gonna do. And this is where you see me decide that this little thin metallic gold star washi tape is like really nice. It makes a thin line. It's the right thickness for the ornament. Like the other stuff was so thick, it didn't look like what would hold up this tiny little circle ornament thing. So I do that. And then I'm messing with trying to get all of the papers to sit correctly. And they don't end up sitting perfectly all the time. You kind of have to fuss with it, but you get the idea, and I just think it's a fun dimensional addition to the album. And now I'm going to look into different ways of embellishing it. I'm looking through the Ali Edwards canvas word strips, and this one says December Memories, which I thought was a really good way of like opening the album. This is just a bunch of memories from December. And then I decided I want to add 2021, and I had the idea of using the Tim Holtz number tokens and using the 20 and the 21 together to spell out or write out 2021. And I think it just kind of repeats this circle thing I have going on. So there's a circle in the wreath, the circle in the ornaments, and then these two little circle tokens. And I think it's just a fun way of using them. And I wanted to stitch them on, but then while I'm deciding this, I'm working on something else. But I didn't know how I was going to do it without poking 2 holes in the plastic, and I didn't really want to do that. So I end up poking through and just using a brad. But right now, off camera, I am tying a little bow out of that gold ribbon that I showed a little bit ago, and I'm going to attach that onto the gold washi tape, and it ends up looking really cute. And here I'm finally pulling over the little bow. So I think this adds a good little dimensional element to the page. And now I'm going back and looking at the layout, and I decide that it needs a little bit of dimension, so I'm adding just a couple tiny little foam squares to the first pattern paper pieces to just kind of pop those up as well and just make them be more incorporated in the rest of the dimensional circle portion of the page. So I went ahead and did that, and now I'm kind of fussing with these little tokens again, trying to figure out what I'm going to do. And I just kind of, whenever I can't decide what I'm doing, I just mess around with the circle papers, trying to like fluff them to the right consistency. But I'm going to add the little bow with some red line tape, and it's so annoying sometimes to get the red line tape backer off. I think I ended up not even using the little strip and just going in with, yeah, this liquid glue. I might staple it too. I'm not super sure what I end up doing, but I had to unclog my glue bottle. It was just a whole struggle. And then I do a tiny little dot of glue and I will stick that down. And it actually sticks up a little bit above the page, but I kind of think it's cute. And yeah, so I end up stapling it, but you wouldn't be able to see that because it's off screen. So yeah, I just think that's just an extra layer of security, and it also is a nice little textural element. I love the stapler. I just got my Tim Holtz Tiny Attacher from my Allie Edwards purchase, and I use it all the time. I will go through. We'll go ahead and use the red line tape to attach the canvas word strips. And something that does help me get those little labels off is using my little poker tool there. I might even do it here. But so I'll stab it between the 2 layers in the center of this tape, and it helps take the 2 pieces apart. It makes it easier, believe it or not, even though I'm still struggling. But especially when you're using non-paper elements, I find the red line tape to be a little bit tricky to use. And now I'm back to figuring out what I'm going to do with these, and I end up just, poking holes, and they end up being not level, but it's fine. It's not that noticeable. I just realized after I did it that they were not level. But yeah, and then I'm going to use tiny little, I think, gold brads to secure them, and I personally don't mind mixing gold and silver. I think it's cool, especially if you just do it and make it be okay, make it look intentional. But especially because I only had these tokens in silver, I had to use silver, but I wanted to make the gold and silver look intentional, so I added the gold brads instead of silver brads to the tokens. And also, my little staple on the gold ribbon is silver, so I think it works. You just gotta make it look like you did it on purpose. So yeah, I think that's pretty much it. I don't think I add anything else right now. And I don't really think I'm going to add anything else to this page. I just want it to be like a simple decorative opener. And then yeah, I'll probably just put another canvas word strip behind it, another circle picture behind it, and that will be that. So thank you so much for joining me. I'm so excited about my first page in the album, and I look forward to sharing my other processes with you guys throughout the month. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.